So, Yannis from Dreadbox.
Hello.
Great to talk to you. I'm really, as part of this series of Meet the Makers, we're trying to just talk to people about how they got into synthesizers, how they got into synthesis. I mean, you're from Greece. Are you mainland Greece or one of the islands?
No, I'm from mainland, Athens.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how did you kind of get into? Are you an engineer, or did you just kind of get into it because you were a musician? Or?
It's half-half, actually. When I finished my studies, I was actually focused in playing music.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do anything with synthesizers. I was a bass player, and I was playing like the rock style music and maybe some pop and just whatever was in the trend this time. So back in Athens, I kind of was, let's say, poor, but not exactly poor. I just had the money just to make my living, you know, eat something and settle, maybe get a beer or something. So when it comes to equipment, you could not really afford anything apart from the bass guitar, and that's it. I didn't really even have the proper amp. So I get started with effect pedals. I was making like clones and trying to make some different sounds. And then it was this thing, there were some very unique pedals at the time. It was about 10 years ago, something like that. That had this synth-like feeling in them. I wouldn't like to say a brand or a name of a pedal, which was very inspiring for me. So I got into the thing of trying to make my bass sound like a synthesizer.
Okay.
Which is very wrong, maybe.
Never wrong.
Never wrong, yeah. Maybe it's never wrong to do something different, but it kind of ended wrong for me. So we started building synthesizer pedals. When I got into the thing, well, you know, I understood how electronics work, how to make my own circuits, instead of.
Was you self-trained then, or did you study for this?
It's partial self-trained, partial studied, not officially studied. I don't have a, you know.
Electronics degree.
Yeah. But I had all these books sitting in myself because my father is actually an engineer. So I could like read anything. And then it was also the internet. The internet's like the biggest class for everybody, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
You can learn like everything from there. And it seems I could understand these things quite easily. So in the end, yeah.
So that, I mean, because the thing about your stuff is it's got a very organic and sort of real sound. Because some instruments just click, some don't, and some, you know, to my ears, yours have a real kind of musicality and a sound to them. I mean, you chose specific filter types. Certainly, you know, people will know I'm a fan of the Erebus, but before that, you did your sort of semi-modular stuff. I mean, that's when you came. Was it a couple of years ago?
My company started on 2012 as Freakbox, actually. It was called at the time. We had some excuses. We had to change the name, so we're not Dreadbox. Well, yeah, our actual first synthesizer was bass synth, the Murmx, a huge bass synthesizer, which at the time I made the way that I was comfortable with it, because as a bass player I wanted to play synthesizer, so I had a foot synth down in my foot, so I could play. And by the way, I'm actually a very bad keyboard player, but I can play very nice foot synth. Anyway, so yeah, that was my first synthesizer. Where from the beginning, I tried to use my own filters and my own amps, and etc. And this seemed to work out pretty well.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, what did you go through a number of ideas for filters? I mean, what got you to the filter that you?
No, actually, it was like maybe I tried 2 or 3 filters, and there was it.
There it was.
There was the bass. Yeah, there was the bass of the filter.
Was that a 2-pole or a 4-pole?
That was a 4-pole. Right. Yeah, that was a 4-pole.
And they have a very unique character, the resonance as well to yours. It doesn't sound like other filters to me.
Well, that's mainly because I use, let's say, in Erebus I call it pre-fed. Pre-fed, I mean, I feed back the filter with resonance, but let's say in simple words, in reverse polarity than the resonance. So I give it something like a positive feedback, and it gives this character, which sounds like a constant resonance, but when you turn the resonance knob up, you can hear the difference, that it's not actually the same resonance that's there. Some people complain because, yeah, I would like to hear the oscillator without any resonance, but I like it.
And also, you've gone very much for analog. You know, there's very little kind of digital control, if I'm right. You're using pure analog.
Yeah, pure analog for now.
And is there? I mean, are there things that you like to do with digital? Because some things are just hard to do with analog, right?
Analog is very limited, I think. Analog is great for signal paths, for filters, maybe for amplifiers. But when it comes to modulation, I think digital should be the thing. And we're about to change this, actually. We have a new guy that will help us do that. And I can promise you some different products in the future.
Interesting, because it's been very successful. I mean, were you surprised at how well things have gone? Because, I mean, it's a great success story, right?
Well, I'm surprised also. I didn't accept this. Well, I started like making a synthesizer just for me, and people liked it, and then I go to the NAMM show, and there I found dealers, and the dealers found customers, and people like it. I didn't accept this.
So it must be very, I mean, one of the things that's really hard for any manufacturer is the bit where you're kind of in your shed making it, and then you have to upscale and you have to make them very quickly. I mean, did you have to scramble to do that, or had you planned that sort of path?
I still scramble to do that. Yeah, it's not my thing. I don't really like the manufacturer's job, but thank God I have my wife that is very skillful at all this, and she's also our graphic designer, by the way. But I wouldn't really be able to handle these things without her.
So you kind of try and stick to the design and the sound and that sort of thing?
Yeah, and I'm also doing some building, some fabrication stuff. I have to test and tune things, and yeah, in general. But I'm not really in the marketing stuff. And
yeah, well, I mean, sometimes it's best to keep that. I mean, I think the thing is, though, I mean, sometimes people don't need to market too much just because the product can speak for itself, and sometimes you do. I mean, it's just the way of the world, I guess.
Well, yeah, actually, yes, that's exactly how it works. And like, after all, marketing is not fun. What is fun is maybe building and playing with stuff. And I think if that is fun for me with my devices, then it should be fun for other people. And that is basic the success story, I think.
Yeah. So the other thing that you do, which is also quite brilliant, I think, in the way that, certainly with the Aerobus, is the way that you can have two-note paraphony, I can't say that right. Yeah. Are you tempted to increase the number of oscillators, or does that start getting really kind of technically difficult and challenging?
That will include maybe revealing a future product, but...
you don't have to say anything.
Okay.
Well, that's exciting news, because I mean, you know, the world loves a good analog poly and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
So I guess is this show season over for you now? You kind of go back and you get heads down into design and product.
The guys from the workshop, they sent me some photos with what expects me there, and you really wouldn't like to see that.
This is all waiting for you.
Yeah. It was very nice, very fun, super booth and mess. Okay, no, I have to go back to reality, and just.
Yannis, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you very much.